Let's talk about the new Netflix World War II series, All the Light We Cannot See. Is it good? Is it bad? Let's find out right now. All right, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about All the Light We Cannot See. Can we get a longer title in there? I don't know, maybe. With your host, Frank Zanca. I am an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, comic book writer, and a working line producer. Recently moved from Los Angeles to Atlanta. And going to be braving through the holidays and hopefully getting back to work in January. So, you're probably wondering, what do you write, Frank? Well, I write some of the stuff behind me, Aurora, and that's my fantasy series behind there, Tales of Ravenor, the Iron Witch. But right now, you can get in on some of my other stuff that I'm writing right now, which is Lords of LA. This is my new comic series that is on Kickstarter literally right now. So we are fully funded. And I'm hoping to unlock, we just unlocked one stretch goal. We're on our way to unlocking another one. I'm hoping to unlock 3 more before we finish in the next 2 weeks. So it's a vampire mob in the 50s. It is a revenge story. It is a mature. So we have plenty of nudity and blood and guts and fighting and vampire action. And we have car chases, and it takes place in the 50s. So we have, a drag race and all that stuff. And of course, we have Marilyn Monroe in it and other stars from the time. So this is the second issue. That's what's on Kickstarter right now. It's only half of it is what I have done right now, but I have wanted to read it through what I have with through a print, because I pick up typos easily in print than I do on the screen. So, and this, if you missed issue 1, yes, you could get issue 1 on Kickstarter as well, so you can get a combo of 1 and 2. But you'll check out the this way. The QR code right here, and we'll also have the link in the description below, or you can literally just go into Kickstarter and type in Lords of LA and it's going to come right up. So if you can support, please do. We are trying to get that not only fully funded, but to get some free stuff as well, and every time we unlock a new stretch goal, we get free stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for that, so much for listening, and now let's get into the review of All the Light We Cannot See. So I am a big fan of war movies, and especially World War II, especially when I wrote a World War II biopic. And so yes, I wrote a biography based on a woman that wasn't really a concentration camp story. It was more about she was in the Jewish resistance in Germany and then had to flee. She's died recently over the last few years, and so yeah, this is all that's left of her. But she didn't really have any family or anything like that. She did have a husband who died prior to her. So this is Escape from Berlin, the Diane Jacobs story is the name of my book. So because of the fact that I have written stuff in the back, I like to see what everybody else has been doing. And this is not a biopic. This is a purely fictional story. I think it did win some awards, if it was a Pulitzer or something to that effect. But it is about a blind woman who is in France during the bombings. So this is after America has now entered the war, and France is completely occupied, and she is trying to survive without really any family whatsoever, and her uncle is basically taking care of her. Her dad basically disappeared, and because he was hiding something. And if you watch any of the trailers or anything else, you're gonna know what basically the plot is. But so we have another Nazi that's trying to track down something that that he thinks that she has, and then it also surrounds a young Nazi radio engineer, and he is the second lead. So we have 2 different leads in this thing. So what I find very interesting, and I don't want to talk too much about the film, but what I found interesting, first of all, I thought the acting was very good for the most part. All right, so what we did differently. So we have Hugh Laurie in here, who of course is from House and among many, many other things. That's probably what he's best well known for. And then we have Mark Ruffalo, who was from, of course, The Avengers, and I forgot that movie that he did with Leonardo DiCaprio about the prison island or whatever. So he's done Ruffalo's done a pile of things. Although I think Ruffalo was woefully miscast here. He has some kind of an accent that doesn't really work for him. And I personally have never really liked him as an actor. Can he act? Sure, but he's kind of a drony kind of actor. He doesn't really have a lot of charisma, and he's just kind of there. That's how I feel about him. He's just there. So I liked Norton way better in the Hulk role than I did Ruffalo, and I was sorry to see Norton leave. But here he is in this role, and he's just there. He doesn't really add anything to the role. He's just there. and once you watch it and you see all the other actors around him, you'll see that they chew up the scenery a lot more than he does. So he just kind of gets, every time somebody else is in a scene with him, he gets pushed to the side. And I think that's how he kind of is as an actor. He's just not a leading guy. Everybody else will constantly steal the spotlight from him. So what I found interesting here, so the filmmakers are extremely well known. Okay, so they could probably just go into any network, streaming channel, or whatever else and get whatever they want made. So you have the showrunner from Peaky Blinders, among other things. And then you have the producer and director from Stranger Things. There's just no stopping these guys. So, so Stranger Things, The Boogeyman, this is Sean Levy, who is directing Night at the Museum, The Adam Project, Free Guy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So there's absolutely nothing that anybody would turn that guy down for. He's got a bunch of hits. So yeah, he's like, oh yeah, whatever you want. The other guy's name is Stephen Knight. He's the one that developed it, and he is also, like I said, the showrunner on Peaky Blinders. He did C. He did Spencer, which is the Princess Di thing that Kristen Stewart was in. Great Expectations. I mean, this guy has Girl in Spider's Web, and it just keeps going on and on. So these guys have huge, huge credits behind them. So I guess they were touched by this book that's pretty well known. I've never heard of it, but obviously it's well known. And I did have some trouble with the script. I know a lot of people are not going to have the problems that I have, because it was very coincidental, so you had these two people. One was, she's a blind woman, and this is what I want to get into, I find, as I didn't know this at the time. But the actress is blind, and the girl that plays the young version is also blind. This is her first role. They said, "You're blind. Can't you just act for us?" And she's like, "I don't act. I don't know how to act. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Yeah, just try it. Just give us a reel. Give us an audition tape. Send it in." Yeah, okay, no problem. So I've never heard of that before. As a producer myself, I would never do that. I would never do that. But I guess these guys have, enough credits behind them where they can experiment. Where I could never do that. I would have to bet on somebody that I knew that could act it. And then you have, of course, the director, that they were betting on being able to pull a performance out of this woman. who's never acted before. Amazing, just amazing. In fact, even in the interview I was watching with you, Lori, he's like, they probably found the only one person that could pull off this role, and he's probably right. But she gave a lot of thought into the time period and what a blind person would have access to that she doesn't have. She has access to, but they wouldn't have at that time. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And they tried to make it as uniform as possible because they also, all the German actors are actual German actors. And of course they've done some stuff over here. Like Lewis Hoffman, who plays like Finnick or whatever, Werner Finnick, who was also very good. He's done everything he's done is European up to when he did a little bit part in Red Sparrow with Jennifer Lawrence. So, and I've never heard of the guy Lars who also plays the villain. So it was pretty interesting, and they did keep it to historic, values. But again, it was very good. The set design was very good. The costumes were very good. The build-up was very good. I hate. And this is of course a TV series, so we were able to get through it a little easier. But I hate having when we're starting to go in a story, and then we have to do a flashback, and then we go into a story, and then we go into the flashback, or we start a episode and we're starting with a flashback. A little quick flashbacks are fine with me, but when we're doing TV shows like this, it's almost like Lost, where half the episode is teaching us about what happened to this person before, and I understand why they had to do it. And I guess they had to do it in flashbacks because if they didn't, it would have been weird. Okay, but I think they spent a little bit too much time on the flashbacks, if that makes any sense. I kind of like my flashbacks a little bit more condensed. But we learned about her as a child and being blind and them having to flee and, what her father did and the fact that he created, these dioramas for her that were duplicates on a miniature scale of the cities that they lived in so that she could learn the city, and when she was walking, she knew where she was. I thought that was very interesting. And, then we have to learn about Finnick's character, about how he was in an orphanage, and he had he had an affinity for radios, and how he was recruited into the Nazi organization and all this other stuff. So originally we see him as a villain, and then we slowly see him as a hero, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Of all the parts and all the characters, he was the most interesting. He had the most interesting arc. And then we get to the end, and I really disliked the ending. So they were both listening to this person named the Professor, who ended up being Laurie, which is her uncle. And I thought that was very coincidental. Then both characters were listening to him on the radio, and that was coincidental. And I don't know. I just think all these coincidences kind of ruined it for me. I don't know. I would have preferred him not being the professor and another character that they maybe run into later. It was just too convenient, if that makes any sense. Then at the end, we basically get Titanic. I'm not going to go into the ending, but we get in. We get into the Titanic, and when you see it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and that made zero sense to me. I mean, zero sense. So if you guys can explain the ending to me, why that makes any sense, I'd be happy to hear it. So let's get into, the fact of what my actual review is. I really liked it. I liked the sincerity of it. I liked the acting, even though this is the only thing she's ever done. Her name is Araya Mia Loberti. And yeah, she did a good job. I got no complaints being first time out. They must have thrown her through as many coaching sessions as possible before they started shooting. Her younger version was very good. Laurie was very good. Lewis Hoffman was. They were all really good. I have no complaints on the acting outside of Ruffalo, who I really would have liked to have seen somebody else in that role. Again, the design, the costume design, the sound design, the music, everything was top notch. But what do you expect from these guys? These guys know what they're doing. And I don't know how close they match it to the book, but I just had some problem with the convenience and then the ending. That was my two critiques on it. But I enjoyed watching it, and it sticks with me. It's not a forgettable type of series where 2 seconds later you forgot about it, and you kind of wonder what happened to Finnick, the Warner, after this whole thing was done, and you hope the best for him. So, but that's it for me. I would give this a good 8 out of 10. It was really good. I just had my two little critiques with it and Ruffalo. Those are my only 3 sticking out points. All right, that's it. Let me know if you guys watched it, what you guys think. Was it worth the watch? If not, why? If yes, what did you like about it? Do you agree with me or do you disagree? All right. And remember to like and subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel. So ring the little bell icon. Make it all dark so that you can see other. My stuff will show up in your feed. I do comic reviews. I do movie reviews. I do some stuff on board games as well. And I have everything on different channels. So if you like one thing versus you just want to watch, movie reviews, you can do that too. And remember that I have my 2 Lords of LA comics. I do sign them so they're collectible. I do have a series of different covers that you can choose from. And I think that you'll like it if you like vampire stuff, if you like historic stuff. Everything has got little pieces in there. And of course, I have the vampire stuff as well. What's not to like? All right, so click on the QR code or the description below, or on Kickstarter itself, and anything you can do to support would be greatly appreciated. All right, thank you so much. Remember to check out some other videos that'll pop up over here for you. And have a great weekend, guys. And the holidays are coming. All right, thanks. All right, bye-bye.